everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com and it's Friday. Gotta get down on Friday because it's my favourite time of the week, and you know why that is, because it's time for my Wrestlers of the Week. That's right, it is time for my top 10 Wrestlers of the Week, but before we get into that, of course, it is customary that we have a cursory glance at the honourable mentions. My honourable mentions this week are Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, has to be up there for that wonderful training montage and ringside antics during Dynamite. Absolutely fantastic stuff. She's so good even when she's out with an injury. It's wonderful to see. And elsewhere, Kevin Owens did alright on Raw. I enjoyed his match with Apollo Crews until it was wrecked. Bloody wrecked by Andrade and Angel Garza. Charlotte and Asuka had a good match before that was wrecked by Nia Jax. And on SmackDown, various different good performances on SmackDown actually. Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss had a proper intense little short match and it was very enjoyable. But now with the honourable mentions out of the way, let's get into number 10. Now, certain things in wrestling are just guaranteed to be positively received, and one of those is a beloved babyface returning from injury and picking up a big win. We saw that on NXT this week with none other than Fandango. Fandango is obviously the best, we all know this. We know he's literally the best. He's the best person ever in the world. Joined by his co-best person in the world, Tyler Breeze, dressed as astronauts, picking up a number 1 contendership for the tag team titles. How could I not give the man any points this week? It is great to see Fandango back. He is so funny and brings such a warmth to NXT. I just love him. Often NXT is quite a gritty and serious place and there's really intense blood feuds going on and all that sort of thing. But sometimes you need a little bit of lightness in amongst all the grit, and I think that Breezango provide that perfectly. It's great to see them back. It's great to see Fandango specifically back from injury, and it was great to see them pick up the win over the Undisputed Era and Lorcan and Birch. I know the match wasn't a totally spectacular one or anything, but it was still a very feel-good moment, a little feel-good moment in a brand where often the heels win quite a bit, at least from how it seems to me. So, yeah, Fandango, I'm delighted to say, gets 1 point this week. Number 9, picking up 2 points. It's the Messiah of Monday Night Raw, Seth freaking Rollins. God, his middle name's almost a swear. It's so gnarly. Rollins lost this week on Raw clean, and I was surprised by that. He lost to Alistair Black. There was a few little roll-ups involved while his boys were trying to distract Alistair Black on the outside, but it backfired. Black kicked out, had his wits about him, rolled up Seth, and Seth lost what was a very nice opening match on this week's Raw. Seth also kind of just locked down, secured his place in this week's top 10 with that wonderful promo at the start of the night. I was disappointed that Ray wasn't there in person despite it seemingly being advertised as though he was there. But, you know, on the other hand, Seth did a really good job of carrying this opening segment. Sometimes WWE traditional 20-minute opening segment, you know, promos can get a little bit boring, but Seth absolutely kills it on the mic currently in this whole Messiah gimmick, and I'm really enjoying it. I especially love the line where he said that, you know, Ray is a legend and he will be honoured to induct him into the Hall of Fame when he does go in, because he's been so horrible to him. He's injured his eye. Ray's own son is calling out Rollins, and I'm just really liking where this is going. I'm enjoying the rumours as well that Dominic could be joining Seth's stable. That would be such a nice twist if Rollins is collecting these lost souls, I suppose, in Murphy and Austin Theory, and then somehow tempts Ray's son away from him. Oh, it would just be brilliant stuff. It would be creepy as hell, but it would be really good too. So a great week for Seth Rollins, but it was a week where there were quite a lot of good performances, so unfortunately for him, he only gets 2 points. Next up, moving on, in the Intercontinental Championship Tournament, it's one of the greatest of all time, everybody. Picking up 3 points this week, it's our boy, our collective boy, D-Bry, Daniel Bryan. Should I have called him Daniel D-Bry Bryan? Would that have been a better nickname? I think so, but I'm too lazy to go back and do that take again. Daniel Bryan had a nice match with Sheamus, slightly overshadowed by the whole Jeff Hardy stuff going on, which left a bit of a sour taste. I mean, yes, it was proven at the end of the night that Jeff Hardy wasn't the guy behind the DUI, but even just involving Jeff Hardy in a storyline involving DUIs is a bit tasteless, especially so soon after he was, you know, arrested for the very same thing. I don't know, I just felt a bit uncomfortable with it. But there was some good on SmackDown. It was generally a solid episode of SmackDown. It was certainly better than Raw, actually, this week. I think that Bryan probably should have won, but I did feel bad for Sheamus because he wants to become the ultimate Grand Slam won every belt champion, you know? He's never won the IC belt, it's the last one left in his collection, and like Ash Ketchum, he's got to catch them all. I'll be looking forward to Sheamus trying to slim down to 205 pounds to try and rip that Cruiserweight title from those NXT bastards in the near future. But it was Bryan who won the match and progressed in the tournament, and Bryan versus AJ, I can't wait. If they go properly all out, I'm going to be absolutely loving life. We have seen them feud briefly before when Daniel Bryan shockingly turned heel and took the WWE title from AJ Styles, but I think that, this could be even better with Bryan as the more natural babyface in the feud, Styles as the more natural heel. I want to give them a best of 7, give them a best of 70, do it now. Number 7, and the new X Division #1 contender and former X Division champion, so he's working his way back up in the rankings in Impact. It's that horrible heelish man, Ace Austin. Now, Austin had already beaten quite a few big names en route to the final of this tournament. I think Rhino and Hernandez, and then met, there's a bit of a convoluted story here. He was supposed to meet, I believe, Trey Miguel in the final. But instead, Miguel got injured and Zachary Wentz stepped in and then Ace Austin beat him. But it seemed a little bit suspicious to me. Like, could Wentz have injured his own stablemate so that he got a bye straight to the final? It would make sense, wouldn't it? But I don't want them to break up the Rascals. I feel like that would be really sad. But still, it was a good match from both guys. In fact, I should have given Wentz an honourable mention, but Ace Austin stole the show here, as he kind of is predispositioned to do. He's so flashy, he's so smarmy and arrogant. I think he's a really, really promising one for the future. I could totally see him in AEW, but then that is doing a bit of a disservice, to Impact, who are doing a good job of pushing it. So a good win for Ace Austin, maybe the most, energetic, athletic match of the week in any promotion, I suppose. And I can't wait to see what happens when he faces Willie Mack. I mean, I want Willie Mack to win because I hate Ace Austin because he's an effective heel. And Willie Mack seems like a lovely man. But if Ace Austin won, I probably wouldn't be opposed to that either. Number 6, a man that I had to leave off last week, and I was really sad about doing so because he became the new United States champion. I am delighted to be recognizing his achievements this week. It's Apollo Crews. I was worried that he'd become one of those champions, right? Because WWE do this thing sometimes, especially recently, where they'll give someone a belt and then the new champion will just lose all the time in non-title matches and tag matches and multi-person matches, and it makes him look like a really weak champion. I was worried that they were going to do that to Apollo Crews because based on the way he'd been booked previously on the main roster, he seemed like the prime candidate for that sort of treatment. But I'm delighted and surprised to inform you that they're not doing that at all. They actually look to be using this title win to continue his push, which is exactly what you should do. It's good stuff. So Crews obviously beat Andrade the other week for the belt. This week he came out and said, I want to give Kevin Owens a title shot because he's kind of been my ally in this whole thing and I respect him a lot and he's a tough competitor. Owens came out, they had a fiery, almost a brawl, like a really fiery face versus face encounter. And then unfortunately the match was wrecked by Andrade and Angel Garza. It turned into the classic, Raw/SmackDown impromptu tag team match, but in good news, Apollo got the pinfall over the man he beat for the title, Andrade. He got that weird pop-up, not really pop-up powerbomb, like shoulder thrust powerbomb sit-out thing that he does, and it was enough to get the win. I was so suckered in by the false finish as well. Andrade got his feet on the ropes. I thought, oh, this is it. But no, Apollo got the bloody win, and I'm bloody proud of him. Go on, Apollo. I'm hoping that Apollo gets a big title defense at the upcoming Backlash pay-per-view, obviously. I'm hoping that he wins it, and I'm hoping that everyone kind of recognizes him for how good he is, because the way he's been booked for the past few years, it's become so easy to forget what a great pro wrestler Apollo Crews is. Number 5, Alistair Black. One of his biggest wins on the main roster, I would say, not including ones that were blatantly assisted by The Undertaker, like that one against AJ Styles. But no, I think Alistair Black being Seth Rollins on Raw was a pretty big deal. The match was excellent as well. It was always going to be. You could just tell that these two guys would have good chemistry. I wish it got quite a lot of time. I wish it had gone on even a little bit longer and maybe had a slightly less screwy finish. I mean, Black got the clean victory, but it was after a period of shenanigans and distraction from Andrade and Angel. No, not from Andrade and Angel Garza. Jack, what are you talking about? From Buddy Murphy and bloody Austin Theory. I'm getting my stables mixed up. It was a big win for Alistair Black, but he did get curb stomped by Seth after the match in pretty brutal fashion. I don't know what this means. I don't know where this means he sits in the feud with Rollins, because Rollins is of course also at the minute feuding with Rey Mysterio and by proxy Humberto Carrillo. God, Rollins has got so many enemies right now. I'd like to see it go like this. I'd like to see Rollins beat Rey in their feud horribly, and it's really distressing and it makes him out to be a horrible, horrible heel. And then Alistair Black's the man to topple Rollins and stop him from effectively taking over Monday Night Raw. That's what I want to see, I think. I think that would be the best course of action, and if it does, we could be seeing a lot more points for Alistair Black in the future. Number 4, controversial storyline, one that is heartwarming, also a little bit cynical, also a little bit genuine, also a little bit ingenuine. It's Drake Maverick. So obviously when Maverick got released, he put up that very heartfelt video, which I still think was a totally legit video, but then at some point WWE must have gone, right, that's gotten really over, we'll re-sign you, here's the storyline we're going to do. Obviously he ended this Cruiserweight Championship tournament, interim, even though people are suggesting that Devlin may have been quietly stripped of the belt. This is quite convoluted. But Maverick ended the tournament, got a couple of big wins over opponents you wouldn't expect him to beat, especially Kushida, progressed to the final against Fantasma, and then lost the final, and then as he was backing up the ramp, as we saw on this week's NXT, Triple H came out, offered him a new contract, and he signed it, and Drake Maverick's back in, the boys are back in town. Now that sounds like good stuff, but Leo Rush pointed out that it's a bit of a slap in the face to everyone else who was released in that big wave of releases that included Drake Maverick. And you've got to kind of agree in a way, haven't you? I'm not saying that I have any ill will towards Drake Maverick. Good for him. Like, he's made the very best of what looked to be a bad situation. And he deserves it, because he's really skilled and really talented and really entertaining. I think if he was given the chance, he'd be one of the most entertaining guys in all of WWE. So there's no question that he deserves it a lot. However, WWE's booking here does kind of leave you with a bit of a funny feeling. The match itself was good though, because it built upon weeks and weeks of tension and storytelling with Drake Maverick. I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was the right call as well, not to have him just outright win the tournament, but get offered a contract anyway, if we take the storyline out of the context of the real world. I think as a story, as a pure story, it worked better that way, but the fact that Triple H comes out and just gives a guy a contract like on a whim does kind of, it's a bit uncomfortable. But no, a great performance from Drake Maverick. Really enjoyable stuff if, once again, you separate it from real life and just try to enjoy it as a story. I'm a big fan of his, and I'm glad that he's staying in WWE. Next up, the new interim, or just the new NXT Cruiserweight Champion, El Hijo del Fantasma. So big Geordie Devs, the Irish ace, the import killer, the killer import. Is he Cruiserweight Champion anymore? People are saying no, but I think WWE, for the minute, have still officially got him listed as a champion. But they've also got Fantasma listed as a champion, and when they announced his win on NXT this week, they dropped the interim part. They just said new NXT Cruiserweight Champion, which, I mean, I do understand it to a degree. No, I don't. I understand the need for an interim champion. I understand that Jordan Devlin can't fly back over to defend his title, and he can't defend it in NXT UK because we're not running shows over here at the minute. But why did you have to just strip him of the belt? Leave Fantasma as the interim champion, that's totally fine. But if they have stripped Devlin, I think he's got a right to be really bloody annoyed. But anyway, let's focus on Fantasma. Of course, I think he's great. He was one of my favorites, as I say, every time I include him on this video series in Lucha Underground as King Cuerno. What's with those masked dudes who keep coming out and trying to kidnap people? Are they with him after all? He's still a babyface at the moment. He has resisted capture by those weird, mysterious guys himself. But is that all a ruse? Are they secretly working for him? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one to find out in the future for certain. But at the moment, he is the new / interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Good match with Drake Maverick. Good performance. I like the Fantasma won. I hope that his reign isn't just a case of him being helped out by these masked dudes. Right, this is my prediction of how it's going to go. This is not what I want to happen, this is what I think is going to happen. So I think that Fantasma is going to start defending his belt, and in every single title defense, he'll be helped out by one or more of those masked guys getting involved secretly behind his back, and then when he notices, he's like, oh no, I didn't mean to, I just wanted to win. And then a long time later, it'll be revealed in underwhelming fashion that he was behind it all along. It was me, Austin. That's what I think will happen. What I want to happen is that he is not actually in charge of these dudes and that it's someone else, because I think that's a far more compelling story, and they've tried to kidnap him. I don't want that to have been a ruse. I want that to have been real. Yeah. Stand up for what's right, Fantasma. But no, a good match, good performance, good champion, great guy, great hair, love him. 8 points for you, Fantasma. Number 2, picking up 9 big points. He lost this week like a big old loser, but he did it in heroic fashion. It's Jungle Boy Jack Perry Jungle Jack Perry Boy Jack Perry Boy Jungle Jack. Jungle Boy had maybe the biggest match of his AEW career so far, maybe second biggest behind the one against Jericho, but certainly it felt big anyway. Jungle Boy taking on Cody in the first week of Cody's open challenge for the TNT Championship. Now, first of all, there was no way that Jungle Boy was going to win this match, because they built up this open challenge thing, which seems to be, it's going to go on for weeks and months, isn't it? It's going to run and run, and it's going to go somewhere interesting with Cody and that belt. So I think it's safe to say that Cody's not going to be losing it for quite some time. However, I think that Jungle Boy still put in pretty good, like a pretty compelling performance here is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if we've ever seen him with such fire. He's got incredible natural babyface fire when it comes to running around, getting the crowd on his side, doing moves. But I don't know if we've ever seen him this like angry and focused. It was really interesting to see, especially when he was jawing with MJF and Wardlow at ringside. Really nice stuff there. And of course, all of his high-flying antics were all really nice to see and all that. The table bump was great, both guys toppling off the top through the table on the outside. Yeah, I just loved it. I thought it was a really fun match. It was my favourite match of the week, and I think the Jungle Boy gave a really good account of himself. I don't know where we go next with Jungle Boy. It looks from that ringside interaction as though his feud with MJF is going to continue. I'm not necessarily against that, but, you know, is it decisive? No, I suppose they both got one win over each other each. MJF won on pay-per-view, Jungle Boy won the Battle Royal. I guess let's have another one to see who's the best of all time. The problem is that if they did that feud, I think MJF's got to win, and I don't want to see Jungle Boy lose. I want to see Jungle Boy in a feud with someone that'll elevate him further rather than knock him down. So I hope that Jungle Boy gets matched up with someone next who he can beat, but who gives him a very stern challenge. And finally, number one, and my wrestler of the week. Man, you probably guessed who it is already because I talked up that last match so much. It's none other than the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. In brackets. The match was great, but the reason that I'm making Cody my wrestler of the week is not just because of the match quality. It's the whole thing that's going on. I feel, and I could be reading too much into this, but I feel like something very interesting is going down. Basically, I'll just cut to the chase. Cody's going to turn heel, isn't he? Let me know if you agree with me in the comments section down below. I think that he is. I think that Cody was a bit of an arsehole in this match. He was way too intense for the circumstances. He put Jungle Boy in a corner up against a wall and tried to headbutt him, and then serves him right. He headbutted the wall and bladed a lot. It added to the match, I suppose, and I'm really intrigued. I can see Cody potentially just gradually acting more and more heelish as the weeks go on, eventually cheating to win a match, then saying sorry or claiming that he didn't do it, and then a little bit later on he just outright does something horrible, gets himself DQ'd, batters someone with a chair, and he turns into like the most horrible heel ever because he's been so good as a babyface. Cody has been one of the best babyfaces in world wrestling for the past year or two. Now imagine him as a heel. I think it could be even better. That is why Cody is my pick for wrestler of the week. I think he is going to turn heel, and even if he's not, his performance in this match was such a wonderful shade of grey that I just really do enjoy his character a lot. I love the whole dichotomy of like, I'm a stand-up guy in a suit, look at me, and after the match he was so gracious, hugging Jungle Boy, shaking his hand, but in those moments during the match he just turns into like heel him back in WWE, like this psychotic monster. It's like American Psycho. It's really, really compelling stuff. So for that reason, Cody Rhodes is my wrestler of the week. I checked the stats. He has been wrestler of the week once in all 3 years of this series, 2018, 2019, and now 2020 as well. That's pretty consistent, to be fair. Now let's take a look at that lovely league table. Kenny Omega is still number one, but Cody has leapfrogged Moxley into second place, and he's closing in on Kenny very rapidly indeed. A little bit further down, we see a few champions there. WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, NXT North American Champion Keith Lee, Champion of our hearts, Will Ospreay, of course. As we move a little bit further down, Jordan Devlin. Don't know what the situation is with him. I hope he is still proper NXT Cruiserweight Champion, because he does deserve it. Daniel Bryan's there as well, good week for him. And Timothy Thatcher there, sneaking in at the bottom. Wonder what's in store for him on NXT. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. Stay very safe out there, stay positive. Look out for our lovely podcast later on, why not? And I'll see you very soon.